Trying to get hold of my family's secret recipes is like mining for diamonds. You've got to keep chipping away until you get there. One of the toughest nuts to crack is my Uncle Stan. On this occasion, I took him down to our local curry canteen, and with a bit of food bribery, he finally broke. He gave up the recipe for his secret KISMET korma. Everything that you know about how to make a korma, forget it. Because original korma, like my Uncle Stan's KISMET korma, involves no cream, no nuts, no fruit. It's pared back, it's reduced, it's incredibly intense, it's feisty, it's fiery, and it's the dish that he used to woo his wife, which is why I call it KISMET korma. He got the girl in the end, and for my auntie, it was truly love at first bite. It cooks for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, so in my Uncle Stan's words, you never hurry a curry.
Korma takes a long time. Korma is not like that, you know.
But you never use cream though in your
No
korma.
way, Jose. No way.
We're gonna take really about sort of 2 onions that are already sliced, and what we're looking to do is use this as a bit of a base. As they start to brown, we're going to then set them aside, but we're going to keep the oil because we want to use that oil to brown off the meat. These onions have browned off a little bit, and we're going to now drain them. I'm going to turn the heat down. I've had it on sort of a relatively high heat. I'm now taking it down to about sort of a medium heat because we're going to throw in some of those whole spices. I'm going to drop into that pan about sort of half a dozen or so cloves, and they'll start to kind of pop and jig a little bit. You can hear them. I'm going to do about the same amount of peppercorns as well. I'm also going to throw in about half a dozen green cardamom pods. And what they do is they really scent this oil. They make it really fragrant and slightly sort of perfumey, really. So those are going to brown. Whoa, with those spices, as you can see, they're kind of like jumping around the pan. They're itching to get the meat in with them. And in go my cinnamon quill. I'm going to leave that to relax for about sort of 30 seconds, 40 seconds or so. Why England? You could have gone anywhere. So why did the family come to England?
England was the dream because, don't forget, England plays cricket.
Okay. I'm using mutton, and it's about 1 kilo of mutton. So you're looking to just brown this meat and coat it with all of those wonderful spices. It's going to need cooking for about half an hour. But what we're going to add to it is just a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of ground cumin. And ground cumin is a very earthy kind of scent that's going to go in there. Quite a nice, friendly, generous measure. So this is going to be a feisty dish. So we want to take a teaspoon of red chili powder. That just goes in together with our ground cumin. And then we take a tablespoon of ground coriander. And that goes in. These are fennel seeds, 2 teaspoons of fennel seeds that I've bashed up. And it just gives off this really kind of aniseedy kind of scent. We want these ground spices now helping to form a bit of a base. And we're going to leave that meat to cook in its own juices for about half an hour. So now we're going to take our onions that have been relaxing for a little while, we're going to throw that into the blender. So our onions go in, they've been draining, so you've got some nice sort of dryish onions that are going in there. We take a tin of tomatoes. Those go in. We add just a touch of salt. Remember, you can always season a little bit later. I like using these bad boys. Fresh green chilies. They just add these little fiery pellets that kick off in the curry. And they just simply go into the blender. And we're going to add just a little bit of yogurt into there as well. Splash it all over into the blender. And we're going to just give that a bit of a pulse, a bit of a whiz. So this goes into the pan. It's got to reduce down and intensify all of those flavours so it gets well and truly clingy, gripping the lamb like a long lost lover. That's the way we want the sauce. Absolutely all over this lamb. I'm going to just keep the heat at a nice medium heat now for about sort of the next hour.
Korma is a dish that takes a long time. Now, because it takes so long, everything marinates really well.
So the lamb's been cooking for about sort of an hour now. You start to see all the spices reduce and cling to the lamb, and it's looking kind of slightly jammy and really textured. So what I'm going to do is just add just a couple of 100 ml or so of water to the pan. Now, just use your own judgment. You know, sometimes it needs a little bit more, but you can just add incrementally and gradually. So we're going to let that cook for about another 30 minutes or so till the lambs become really juicy and sort of tender and crumbly. So this has now been cooking for about, in total, about sort of an hour and a half to almost 2 hours. So the lamb will be really gorgeous and tender. So what I want to do, so I just want to check the sauce, the consistency. My goodness. That's amazing. She was a good-looking woman. I can't believe that she was the one who was always chasing you.
So why would she leave the office and come and work as a machinist?
Tell me you didn't put the high karate aftershave. Did you say it was Kismet?
I would say it was my good kismet, yes.
We've got a handful of coriander leaves that are going to go into the pan. And what it does is it just adds another layer of freshness, actually. We use it to cook with as well, but what we're also going to do is we're going to dress the dish before we serve it up. In goes our coriander. That is good to go. So we're going to serve that up. For my aunt, this dish, Kismet lamb korma, was love at first bite.